Hello everyone and welcome back to the FPL Departed YouTube channel. It has been a while between drinks, but that's all good. We're here ready to go for our game week 11 preview. So if you are excited for this game week, make sure you like, comment and subscribe to the channel because there's going to be plenty more content coming your way. So as you can see right above me, we've got the game week rank and our points and my overall rank. Obviously the overall rank's not in a good space at the moment. We're still playing some catch up from taking Haaland out back in game week 4, but look, we're on the way up. We've had 2 green arrows in a row. The team's starting to move in the right direction, as you can see on the screen as well. So we've scored 64 points this week, which I thought was not too bad considering we had 2 free transfers, and some of those transfers did go against us. So the transfers I brought in were Guay and Madison. They came in for Trent and Andreas Pereira. I really thought that with no Mitrovic, or potentially no Mitrovic in the Fulham team, that Andreas would struggle, but he's managed to obviously get that goal, which was well taken against West Ham. So quickly going through the team, Nick Pope, a bit disappointed lately with Newcastle's defence, albeit that Trippier's been scoring really well, but Pope, has only been conceding 1 goal. I've had him for the last 3 games, and they've conceded 1 goal in each of those games, which have been quite frustrating. So obviously lost out on a lot of clean sheet points, but goalkeepers at that price, there's not really a lot that you would want to take on anyway. I think they're all pretty much of a muchness. So more than happy with Pope. Guay was very unlucky, obviously got yellow carded as well. Palace looked really good against Leeds, obviously conceded the 1 goal. Emerson, it just hasn't worked out since that wild card. He sort of got transferred as the boys were making our wild card. Started off in the starting 11, but then they've gone back to their 4-back, which has meant that Creswell has gone back into that left back instead of left centre back role, which means Emerson, unfortunately, has been coming off the bench and only really getting 1 point. Cancelo, what more can we say? I think he's someone who just needs to be locked in our teams long term. He just, against Southampton, absolutely dominated. Just was playing practically as an extra winger on that left-hand side, and his delivery and his final ball and his ability to shoot left and right foot, just unbelievable. So he's going to be someone that definitely doesn't leave the team anytime soon. Trippier is the same as Cancelo. They're just locked and loaded in this side, I think. Just Trippier's just dominance down that right-hand side for Newcastle. He's the main creative outlet, really, for Newcastle. Martinelli, what more to say? Scored within a minute. Looks very good. We've made so much money on Gabriel Martinelli to the point where he probably won't leave the team. And then Haaland and Tony both getting returns were fantastic. But obviously Bernardo, I think we brought him in for the Forest game, I reckon it was. So going all the way back to Forest, where he's gone 6, 9, 13. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. We brought him in for 6'3", 6'5'3". He's done his job. Obviously, we paid, I think, 6.9 million for him back then, and he has been, a good servant to our team. But this week's probably the week where it's time to say goodbye to Bernardo Silva because of the upcoming buy for Man City and Arsenal. James Madison, we brought in this week, obviously, against Bournemouth. Very disappointing to only get a 1-point return from him, but I think long-term with James Madison, the fixtures for the next 3 weeks in particular, Crystal Palace, Leeds and Wolves, all look tasty. The issue with Madison is he is on 4 yellow cards, I believe. He's on 4 yellow cards already through 10 weeks. So if he does pick up a yellow card over these next couple of weeks, I'm going to be very disappointed because I really do need him in the team. But the main issue we've got at the moment is Mohamed Salah. If you do go over to my YouTube channel, I've done lots of videos on Liverpool and one in particular on Mo Salah. Just not the same Salah we've seen, 12-2, 8-3, 10-3, 5-2. He has played 90 minutes across all those games, bar Arsenal at the weekend. Liverpool looked absolutely dreadful. Didn't look dreadful. Playing a different shape, Salah's just not the main man anymore. He just really isn't. The team's definitely geared to Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez. A lot of that creativity is coming down the left. Darwin Núñez, to be fair, looked really, really good against Arsenal. Did get a goal as well. But I think Salah's going to be the big talking point of this video because we are chasing rank big time at the moment. We're sitting 3.2 mil. We were sitting at 1.5 mil early in the season until we got rid of Haaland. So we have been playing catch up. But we'll go straight into my transfers for this week. And the main person I'm looking at potentially could be Leandro Trossard. So The one thing I need to caveat this with is obviously if Mitrovic is out. So this is how the team will look going into the week currently. So I haven't made my moves yet. So Guehi, Emerson, and Bernardo on the bench. This is if I'm obviously to make no transfers. But I am worried about Alexander Mitrovic, because if he's out, then I need to readjust these transfers. But what we're thinking is it's time for Salah to go. Now, everyone's telling me on Twitter and in comments of videos, he's got, a really good run of fixtures up to the World Cup post this week. Really, he does, but the eye test is telling me get off of Salah. The issue also is I've only got one transfer, so I do need to be mindful of that. But I'm at the point now where I've seen people take hits and restructure their team and it work in the long term for them. So I think I'm at that point now where I need to just take one more hit in order to sort this out. So the thought process is Salah's going to come out this week and Bernardo's going to come out this week for either Bowen, Zaha or Trossard. So they're the three guys that I'm really considering bringing in. Trossard's data is probably the best, when it comes to the creativity side of things. He's got 9 points per game on average. He's got expected points of 6.4, expected goal of 0.63, expected assist of 0.15. Really, really good data. Trossard has been very good. He's passing the eye test. My issue with going after Brighton is you obviously get the two really good fixtures here in 11 and 12, and that Nottingham Forest game in game week 12 could be massive. So having Trossard in game week 12 could be awesome, but I've already got Pascal Gross as well. So my thought process is I don't really want to double up Brighton, because after game week 12, you go City, Chelsea, Wolves, who are still okay, and Villa. So you get one easy game out of 4 after the two really good games. Now, when I'm saying I'm chasing rank, it makes sense to put the guys that are obviously going to perform against teams like Nottingham Forest, but I also want to consider that we've got Bowen and we've got Zaha, who we could open their profiles up separately. I was initially thinking Bowen and Trossard, but looking at Zaha's data here, when you've got his expected points 41, expected goals 3, and he's out, performing a lot of these stats here. He's, scored 4 goals. He's doing very, very well. When we're talking about these guys, obviously we care about this expected goal, information here as well. And Zaha has just been absolutely dominating. He has expected points of 4.3, points per game is 4, so quite lower than Leandro Trossard, but he hasn't had that same run of games. He's obviously had a lot tougher opposition to play than Brighton have so far, and his goals are at 0.25 and he scored 4. So he's really outperforming his XG. His XG here, why does it do it like that for? 0.6. Maybe it is updated, but it is what it is. But what I like with Zaha is he gets Leicester, Wolves. Again, Wolves isn't easy. Everton's not easy. Southampton, West Ham. He gets Forest right at the end of this run. Zaha is just that type of player, though. We know he's on penalties, and this is the thing. Trossard is not on penalties. That's what I'm worried about in particular, that McAllister takes the penalties for Brighton. When we're looking at Bowen and Zaha, they are on set pieces. They take free kicks. They take penalties. They're involved in the offense. They're extremely involved. So I'm very, very excited at the possibility of bringing Bowen and Zaha in. But obviously, I need to be mindful that if Mitrovic is out, then I've got another issue to contend with. So the team could look like this. This is how we're going to wrap up. We've got the one free transfer, Salah and Bernardo. We're going to go Zaha, which is up here. And I think Zaha is just that type of player that, you need him. If you're going to bring him in, he has to be in long term, because, there are weeks where he'll have an easy game and he'll get potentially marked out of that game as well, which, isn't ideal. But we'll go from there and we'll see how things go. And then obviously Jared Bowen is Jared Bowen. So I should have made the moves here, because we can go with Bowen and we can go with Zaha, and we'll let the Fantasy Football Hub optimize our team. I was going to say, make it, see if it does it automatically for us. Here we go. So they reckon Gross against Brentford hits the bench. Guehi hits the bench. This is pretty much how I'd line up, bar Ward, because obviously we've got Zaha playing against Ward, so we don't want to have that. We've got Saliba versus Leeds. We've got Cancelo versus Liverpool. We've got Trippier versus Man United. Martinelli versus Leeds. Southampton for Bowen. Crystal Palace for Madison and Zaha. Haaland obviously has Liverpool, and then we've got this fixture here. We've got Mitrovic versus Bournemouth, or we first sub Pascal Gross, who gets Brentford as well, and then obviously Tony plays. So I feel like this sets us up really well. It leaves us with about 4 mil in the bank. The week after, we need to get rid of Saliba, because then we'll have our 3 guys in Cancelo, Martinelli, Haaland that are ready for that game week 12 bye, and Saliba will turn into Lewis Dunk because they'll take on Nottingham Forest. And then the week after that, so game week 12 will be Lewis Dunk coming in. I already made that move. And then the game week after, Gross, we've got enough money to turn Pascal Gross into Phil Foden, which is what I'm thinking of doing long term. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully we'll get these out. Well, I definitely will be getting these out on more of a regular basis. So make sure you subscribe to the FPL Departed channel. There's going to be plenty of content, different shorts, different videos, different live streams. We appreciate all your support. So yeah, make sure you're subscribing to see how we track on for the rest of the season. And I'll see you guys very, very soon for another video here at FPL Departed.